months, I have had the privilege of meeting some of the world's top authors, and tonight is no different. I am thrilled to be here with blockbuster crime writer Ian Rankin. So welcome to Perth, Ian.
Thank you very much.
It's great to have you, and it's also welcome back to another well-loved character, Rebus, in your new novel we've got here, Standing in Another Man's Grave. That's fantastic. Your readers will be excited to have him back. I'm sure they will be.
Well, I couldn't keep him away.
Yeah.
I tried, but I knew what he was doing. He was working cold cases, and when I got an idea for a story that was a cold case, I thought, well, he's the very man for the job.
Absolutely. I thought that was perfect because he's retired. It is a cold case detective. And, well, let's face it, he's got all the time in the world to go up and down the A9.
He has, and what a hell of a road it is. It's a road I've got to know very well over the years.
I was going to say that. Have you got a fascination for it?
Yeah, I kind of love-hate relationship. I mean, as most folk who use it have got. You know, whenever you get stuck behind a lorry, I dare say a tractor or a caravan,
and there's
on one of
always
the windy
plenty,
bits,
yeah.
one of the windy bits, or one of the bits where you just can't pass. You can go 20 or 30 miles and never get past the slow-moving vehicle in front. I don't know many roads in the world that are like that. But then when you get a lovely clear patch, usually on a dual carriageway, you think, how come I'm not meeting the big slow-moving vehicles here on the dual carriageway? And you just go up and you can see the mountains, and you just know that you're getting further and further away from the central belt, and it just gets...
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, you start to unwind.
Yeah, you
start to unwind.
You do. Now, they say it takes one good idea to make a novel.
Well, I say that.
Yeah, well, that's right, because I've heard you say that. So, now you got this good idea when you were at a funeral, is that right, for this latest book?
No, I wasn't at a funeral, but a friend of mine, a singer-songwriter called Jackie Leaven, had just died, and I was thinking about mortality, and I was thinking about the fact that Rebus would be surrounded by people his age, or around about his age, who were now dropping off the perch. And so I got the notion of him at a funeral, and I got the notion of this title, Standing in Another Man's Grave, which is a misheard lyric by my mate Jackie Leaven. It's a song of his that I misheard. It's actually Standing in Another Man's Rain, but I misheard it. So I thought, well, that's the opening scene. The opening scene was there. It was kind of crystalline. I just had to make up another 350 pages in the back of it.
That's the heart of it, isn't it? Because unusually it doesn't open on a crime scene, does it, the book?
My books seldom do. I mean, I was told a long time ago the reason my books don't sell as well in America as they might is because Americans want their crime scene on page one. They want the murder on page one.
Yeah.
And I like to let the characters breathe a wee bit before I snuff them out.
Yeah.
So in this case, it's it's a case from the past. It's not a kind of current case that Rebus seems to be working on. And then he starts to see connections with a current inquiry, and that brings him back into the police.
Fantastic. When you're writing about Rebus, do you have in your mind's eye actor Ken Stott, or do you not? Have you got your own picture?
I've never watched the TV series because I don't want to get actors' voices and actors' faces, whether it's John Hannah or Ken Stott or whoever it might be. I don't want to get them inside my head, replacing the characters that have been there for decades. So I've never watched the TV shows. Unusually, I have watched Doors Open, which is going to be on at Christmas on ITV, one of my books that's been filmed with Stephen Fry. I think that's because I've not got the same closeness to the characters in that, because it was a one-off, that book.
Yeah.
It isn't like Rebus, who's been in my head since 1985.
Yeah. Do you like him? Is he a likable?
No, he's not. No, he's not. He's an old miserable grouch, and he wouldn't like me. I mean, he would see me as being a kind of wishy-washy liberal. So I'm glad we've never got a chance to meet in the Oxford bar, because after 15 minutes he'd offer to take me outside for a fight.
Well, do you know, I watched the TV documentary. It was a video diary you did on the writing process for this book. And it was really fascinating because you've been writing now sort of 25, 26 years, is that right? And I was really amazed how sometimes you still get the block, or as your wife says, page 65.
It's more that I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know where I'm going, and you'd think after all these years I might have a sense of that. When I start a book, I've got no idea where the book is going to go. I just hope it's going to go somewhere interesting for the reader and for me. I've got no idea who the killer is. I've got no idea really what's going on.
So you don't plan it all out before?
No. And that's terrible advice. I wouldn't give that advice to young writers or people who are starting out in the profession. It works for me, but I doubt it would work for anybody else.
Yeah, it's just the way you
do it. But it's terrifying, because you can be 60, 70 pages into a book, you've got no idea what you're doing next. You can be 250 pages into a book, as I was with this one, and not know who the killer is.
Yes, I know, I saw that in the documentary.
I was 15 pages from the end before I worked out who it was.
Oh my goodness.
And I think that was the first draft, but it might even have been the second draft. I think it was the first draft. I just play it by ear. But it works for me, but I doubt it would work for anybody else.
But you weren't an overnight success, let's be honest. Your early books didn't sell in great numbers. I think it was about your 8th Rebus book that really became a blockbuster. Why do you think?
It wasn't even that. I mean, the 8th Rebus book was the one I think that started to win prizes, and I thought, I know what I'm doing, and my publisher thought, this guy knows what he's doing. I think I got into the top 10 for a couple of books after that, so it was about 15 published novels before I was making a fairly good living, i.e. could get a mortgage.
Yes.
So it wasn't a fast route to success, but that's quite a good thing, I think. It gave me time to get to know the genre, to get to know the characters, to get to know my strengths, to get to maybe get rid of some of the weaknesses.
Yeah, and develop.
Yeah, all of that stuff, and I still am. I mean, you know, when you sit down to write a book, you want the new book to be better than your previous books. So you're still learning. You're still, how can I make this book better than the previous books? So you're always up against your own worst enemy, yourself.
Yeah. Now, when I was doing a wee bit of research on you, before you found fame and fortune, shall we say, now correct me if I'm wrong,
Go on.
but some of the things that you did were you were a grape picker, a swine herder, a taxman, a punk musician, and an alcohol researcher, although I think we might call them something different round here.
No, it was a real job. Alcohol research was a real job. It was a university project looking at drinking habits of Scottish teenagers, and I was one of the interviewers.
Yeah.
So it's when I was on the dole, and I was getting paid to go and do these interviews with teenagers, and I could have saved them a lot of money by saying, look, teenagers tend to lie about how much they drink.
So when you eventually realised that you'd made it, what was your first sort of big treat to yourself, your first extravagant purchase that you thought, oh, you know, it doesn't matter about the money?
Don't know. I mean, as you can tell, looking at me, I don't spend a lot of money on clothes or haircuts. I buy records, but not really expensive records. I buy art occasionally, Scottish art, 20th century. But I'm running out of wall space, I've stopped doing that. Big car, not really. Nice holidays, been on a couple of nice cruises.
Yeah. So you're quite a modest person then, I would say.
Don't know.
Not gone mad.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I grew up with not much money. My sister's in the audience tonight here in Perth. She's lived in Perth for donkey's years, and she'll tell you, I mean, our parents, as soon as the summer holiday was finished, started saving up for the next summer holiday. A wee bit out of the pay packet every week we'll put away, insurance, Christmas, summer.
And I think, do you not think you've been brought up like that? It's in you,
isn't it?
It's
ingrained.
Yeah,
it's ingrained. And
I mean,
I do, without blowing my own trumpet too much, I mean, I do channel a lot of money to charity.
Yeah.
Because I don't need it, really. I'm quite happy. As long as I've got enough money in my pocket for a pint of beer and a CD.
You're quite happy.
Happy.
So the next Rebus or the next novel, is that going to be started again next year?
Yeah, January. I mean, I'm really panicking. I'm way behind. It's now December. Usually by this stage of the process, I would at least have an idea what the next book's going to be.
The green folder will be bulging,
Green folder's sitting there in Edinburgh just waiting for me to have the time to get to it, but I'm not going to get to it now until after Christmas. So I'm at least a month behind where I would normally be. So I am panicking.
Well, I know there's a huge crowd in there all waiting to hear from you, and we really appreciate here in Perth Online giving us a few minutes of your time, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.